So, yeah, I'm excited to share that we have a new line of products available, the Criterion IQ, for medical and industrial devices. They utilize an SMS interface for real-time communication. We do have a 7.4 volt, 6 amp variant available. So that's a 2S 2P pack. And we will also soon have the other variants there, 1S 4P and a 4S 1P, currently in development. So if you have any questions on those, please feel free to reach out to me. I can let you know pricing, lead times, availability, and all that. This is a great quick to market option, so I'm happy to say that we have it available. And that kind of wraps up our. We'll get over to the Q&A part. Got a few questions from some people on here, so I will just start asking them. Let's see. I guess the first one. Mike, how do I use the state of health data?
The state of health data comes out of the fuel gauge as just a percentage. So when it's brand new, it's 100%. At its end of life, it may be 80%. Best thing to do with that data is actually track the rate of change over time. So not just, I'm at 80%, I'm done, but I'm falling at an increased rate. Therefore, we're about to hit the end. And you can kind of be a little more intelligent there and warn people before it becomes a problem.
Okay. Does the Criterion IQ consume more power than a dumb battery? And is shelf life impacted?
I'm guessing that's for me too.
That's for you.
Yes. It does consume a little bit more current than a more basic battery, but not enough that it's really a problem. Shelf life really is going to be at least over a year, regardless of the configuration. And what we mean by shelf life is not the battery is useless after that point in time. It just means it needs to be recharged after that point in time.
Okay. Another one for Mike. At what scale, number of units would a cloud connected battery be viable?
That's kind of hard to say specifically. It really will fit, or really will depend on the application. If it were something, something like a telecom application where every site already has that backbone data connection, then it would be viable at a bit of a smaller scale. Maybe hundreds to thousands of installations type thing.
You didn't mention cell balancing. Is this included?
Yes, it is. It is a standard feature within the Criterion IQ product.
What type of cells are used in the Criterion IQ? I can answer that one. We use the Samsung INR 18650 30Q. So 4 cells so far in each of the IQ packs. Ian, here's one for you. Is the Criterion applicable for rugged industrial applications?
Yeah, that's part of one of the main applications we designed it for. It's got a hard shell. It is ultrasonically welded together, so it is really a rugged pack, and that was part of our design criteria around it, to be able to apply it in multiple different rugged, different IP conditions, to be able to handle that complex working environment.
Is that one of the advantages of having a hard shell over a soft shrink pack?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, at the end of the day, this soft shell doesn't protect the cells as well as a hard shell. And so there is a lot of advantages of using hard shells in rugged environments. So that's one of the reasons why we designed it with a hard shell.
Okay, thank you. Mike, what is the design process to implement the Criterion IQ?
It is really pretty much what we covered in that checklist. Really, the specific things are going to be that communication interface and the software to interact with the battery itself. And we can certainly help figure that stuff out for you.
Will the Criterion IQ communicate without an internet connection?
Yeah, it's not cloud connected. So the battery itself will communicate with the device over SM bus, and internet connection really isn't required at this scale.
Right. Now, there's another question here, Mike. What is your recommendation on the end of life state of health level? 80%?
80% is kind of the industry standard. And really, once you hit that 80% mark, they start falling off pretty quick. Some of the newer cells will push that to 70. And if you can accommodate that, then great, it'll last even longer. You just have to make sure that when you calculate your expected runtime, you do that at 70% of your design capacity.
Perfect. Can custom versions of these be created? Mike?
Yes, they can. That is a big part of what we do, is taking our standardized product and relaying it out or changing it in some way that makes it specific to any given application. So yes, they can be customized, and just reach out to us and we'll help you through it.
Perfect. Ian, do you want to take this one? Can you make this ATEX compliant?
Yes, that can be designed into the system. As Mike mentioned previously, there's certain requirements in the ATEX Haslock world, and it obviously depends on where it's being used and what the requirements for that specific application. But part of our design criteria was to consider those technologies and requirements, and we would custom build certain technologies into the pack for ATEX and Haslock. But it's been designed with that in mind.
Okay, so leads to the next question. Do you have an ATEX protection circuit? Mike?
Those are often so specific to the application and certified within the system as a whole, that it's really best to customize it and make it fit exactly what you need. Say, if you only need to meet, say, an IC level of protection instead of IA, you don't want to pay for all that extra circuitry required or have all the extra resistance required to meet IA. So it's really best to design or customize specifically for your application.
Great. Let's see here. Does the Criterion IQ battery use the SBS standard?
Yes, it does. Yep.
Do we foresee integrating other safety techniques, chemical sniffers, fire suppression, to mitigate stricter regulations such as UL 9540, UL 9540A, etc.?
Yes. Yeah.
Pop in there, whoever wants to answer.
Mike's the smart guy. He'll answer that one.
I am directing them all there.
Yeah, both chemical sniffers and fire suppression, we are starting to see at a larger scale, kind of the fixed installation stuff, grid scale backup, telco, that type of thing. If it's a bunch of battery modules crammed in a shipping container or something like that, it is becoming more and more common to have chemical sniffers, which trigger kind of system level shutdown and small fire suppression within the battery itself.
Okay. There's a shipping question here. Speak to the shipping standards requiring state of charge under 30% on airship packs. How do you manage current on shelf life? What mechanisms do you use to prevent CUV on freshly shipped packs that may reside on a shelf for a long time before landing in the customer's hands?
Okay. CUV specifically meaning cell under voltage. So really the main mechanism we use is we just build them fairly shortly before we ship them. We don't connect that protection circuitry really until within a few weeks of when that is going to go out. Managing it on the shelf is really kind of as simple as having a regular recharge program. You can buy equipment that can charge a massive number of batteries in parallel if needed. But at the same time, if you can manage your supply chain such that you're not keeping batteries on the shelf for more than 2 years, you really don't have to give it all that much thought.
One question here. We have an application in the medical device industry. Going below 80% at state of health, any safety concerns?
Within medical devices, you kind of want to play it safe. So going below 80% on its own really doesn't cause a safety concern. But if you're also kind of abusing it in some other way, then lower state of health increases the risk of something going wrong. So medical applications, we typically don't fully charge them either. Instead of charging to 4.2, we'll charge to 4.15 or even 4.1. And by limiting that maximum voltage, that really reduces the chances of the defects forming that really cause these safety hazards.
Okay. How are the case halves attached to each other? I think we answered that one. They are ultrasonically welded. And will it hold up in a rugged environment?
Yeah, yep.
I think we see here. Any questions? There's one here following up on the shelf life question. Does the pack have a sleep or ship mode, or is the PCA current draw so low that it doesn't make a difference? If the sleep ship mode is used, can the battery be put back into that mode?
Yes, it does have multiple sleep modes. There are three power states. It will automatically go into its sleep mode just after some period of inactivity, which on its own is enough to extend the shelf life a fair bit. But then it has a ship mode as well, which you can put the battery into with a command, which makes it way less. So yes, it has sleep and ship modes, and you can put it in that state after it's been shipped.
Excellent. If there's any other questions, just type it into the Q&A chat there, and we'd be happy to answer any more that you have. Give it a few more seconds here. And also see if you want to take a look at our website. We have a ton of resources on our website, and that you can take a look at. And with that, I don't see any other questions. So if no other questions, I can now wrap it up. And thank everybody for joining us today. Again, there's my email address. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer anything you have or give you any more information about Excell and the products that we make. Please reach out to me anytime. And again, I invite you all to look at our website and again, connect with us, any of us, anytime. And I thank you for joining us today.